Access your free language gifts of the month right now. Here's what you're getting this month. First, the Being Funny conversation cheat sheet. Want to be able to tell jokes in your target language or tell someone how funny or unfunny they are? You will with this brand new cheat sheet. Second, all the language you need for everyday life. Get all of our best conversation cheat sheets rolled up into one with this gift. Download it right now before it disappears. Third, must-know book vocabulary. If you love reading and want to talk about books, then this next 1-minute lesson is for you. Fourth, phrases to use with the doctor. Learn how to say phrases like, I have an appointment, I don't feel well, and much more. Fifth, summer plans conversation lesson. Can you talk about your summer plans? Such as go travel, relax at the beach, or stay at home and sit on the internet. You will with this 1-minute lesson. Access it right now. Sixth, free audiobooks. Unlock our huge library of language learning audiobooks. Save them to any device and listen and learn. They're yours to keep forever. And finally, the deal of the month. If you want to finally master the language with lessons by real teachers and our complete language learning program, get 31% off Premium or Premium Plus with the Pretty Big Deal sale. So, to get your gifts and language learning resources, click the link in the description below. Download them right now before they expire.
Bonjour. Hello. Bonjour. Bonjour. Hello. Quand je rencontre une personne, je dis bonjour. When I meet someone, I say hello. Quand je rencontre une personne, je dis bonjour. Bon après-midi. Have a nice afternoon. Bon après-midi. Bon après-midi. Have a nice afternoon. Bon après-midi, mademoiselle. Have a nice afternoon, miss. Bon après-midi, mademoiselle. Bonsoir. Good evening. Bonsoir. Bonsoir. Good evening. Bonsoir, bienvenue. Good evening, welcome. Bonsoir, bienvenue. Bonne nuit. Good night. Bonne nuit. Bonne nuit. Good night. Bonne nuit, mon ami. Good night, my friend. Bonne nuit, mon ami. Enchanté de vous rencontrer. Nice to meet you. Enchanté de vous rencontrer. Enchanté de vous rencontrer. Nice to meet you. Enchanté de vous rencontrer, monsieur. Nice to meet you, sir. Enchanté de vous rencontrer, monsieur. Comment vas-tu? How are you? Comment vas-tu? Comment vas-tu? How are you? Ça fait longtemps. Comment vas-tu? It's been a long time. How are you? Ça fait longtemps. Comment vas-tu? Oui. Yes. Oui. Oui. Yes. Oui, s'il vous plaît. Yes, please. Oui, s'il vous plaît. Non. No. Non. Non. No. Non merci. No thanks. Non merci. Merci. Thank you. Merci. Merci. Thank you. Merci beaucoup pour l'invitation. Thank you very much for the invitation. Merci beaucoup pour l'invitation. Je m'appelle. I'm. Je m'appelle. Je m'appelle. I'm. Je m'appelle John. I'm John. Je m'appelle John. Au revoir. Goodbye. Au revoir. Au revoir. Goodbye. Au revoir, à bientôt. Goodbye, see you soon. Au revoir, à bientôt. Mauvais. Bad. Mauvais. Mauvais. Bad. C'est un mauvais garçon. He is a bad boy. C'est un mauvais garçon. Bon. Good. Bon. Bon. Good. Les légumes sont bons pour vous. Vegetables are good for you. Les légumes sont bons pour vous. Belle. Beautiful. Belle. Belle. Beautiful. Très beau. Very beautiful. Très beau. Laid. Ugly. Laid. Laid. Ugly. Visage laid. Ugly face. Visage laid. Facile. Easy. Facile. Facile. Easy. Ce problème est facile. This problem is easy. Ce problème est facile. Difficile. Difficult. Difficile. Difficile. Difficult. Très difficile. Very difficult. Très difficile. Près de. Near. Près de. Près de. Near. Je vis près de l'université. I live near the university. Je vis près de l'université. Loin. Far. Loin. Loin. Far. La gare est loin d'ici. The station is far from here. La gare est loin d'ici. Petit. Small. Petit. Petit. Small. Ce pull est trop petit. This sweater's too small. Ce pull est trop petit. Aujourd'hui. Today. Aujourd'hui. Aujourd'hui. Today. Aujourd'hui, il fait beau. Today is sunny. Aujourd'hui, il fait beau. Hier. Yesterday. Hier. Hier. Yesterday. Venir hier. Come yesterday. Venir hier. Demain. Tomorrow. Demain. Demain. Tomorrow. À demain. See you tomorrow. À demain. Semaine. Week. Semaine. Semaine. Week. Il y a 7 jours dans une semaine. There are 7 days in a week. Il y a 7 jours dans une semaine. Année. Year. Année. Année. Year. Année prochaine. Next year. Année prochaine. Année prochaine. Seconde. Second. Seconde. Seconde. Second. Juste une seconde. Just a second. Juste une seconde. Minute. 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 Il y a 60 secondes dans une minute. There are 60 seconds in a minute. Il y a 60 secondes dans une minute. Heure. Hour. Heure. Heure. Hour. Je dors 8 heures par jour. I sleep for 8 hours every day. Je dors 8 heures par jour. Pendule. Clock. Pendule. Pendule. Clock. La pendule affiche midi moins 8. The clock reads 8 minutes to 12. La pendule affiche midi moins 8. Heure. O'clock. Heure. Heure. O'clock. Rendez-vous à la gare à 9 heures. Let's meet at the station at 9 o'clock. Rendez-vous à la gare à 9 heures. Calendrier. Calendar. Calendrier. Calendrier. Calendar. J'ai noté notre anniversaire dans le calendrier. I marked our anniversary on the calendar. J'ai noté notre anniversaire dans le calendrier. Lundi. Monday. Lundi. Lundi. Monday. La semaine de travail commence lundi. The work week starts on Monday. La semaine de travail commence lundi. Mardi. Tuesday. Mardi. Mardi. Tuesday. Mardi 1er janvier. Tuesday, January 1st. Mardi 1er janvier. Mercredi. Wednesday. Mercredi. Mercredi. Wednesday. Le mercredi 18. Wednesday the 18th. Le mercredi 18. Jeudi. Thursday. Jeudi. Jeudi. Thursday. Jeudi 3 janvier. Thursday, January 3rd. Jeudi 3 janvier. Vendredi. Friday. Vendredi. Vendredi. Friday. La semaine de travail se termine le vendredi. The work week ends on Friday. La semaine de travail se termine le vendredi. Samedi. Saturday. Samedi. Samedi. Saturday. Pas de projet pour samedi. No plan for Saturday. Pas de projet pour samedi. Dimanche. Sunday. Dimanche. Dimanche. Sunday. Petit déjeuner du dimanche. Sunday morning breakfast. Petit déjeuner du dimanche. Faire. Do. Faire. Faire. Do. J'ai tellement de choses à faire. I have so much work to do. J'ai tellement de choses à faire. Allez. Go. Allez. Allez. Go. Aller au magasin. Go to the store. Aller au magasin. Rire. Laugh. Rire. Rire. Laugh. Le couple rit à une blague. The couple is laughing at a joke. Le couple rit à une blague. Délicieux. Delicious. Délicieux. Délicieux. Delicious. Dessert délicieux. Delicious desserts. Dessert délicieux. Eau. Water. Eau. Eau. Water. Puis-je avoir de l'eau, s'il vous plaît? Can I have some water, please? Puis-je avoir de l'eau, s'il vous plaît? Thé. Tea. Thé. Thé. Tea. Tasse de thé. Cup of tea. Tasse de thé. Café. Coffee. Café. Café. Coffee. Café frais. Freshly brewed coffee. Café frais. Bière. Beer. Bière. Bière. Beer. Bière fraîche. Cold beer. Bière fraîche. Vin. Wine. Vin. Vin. Wine. Verre de vin. Glass of wine. Verre de vin. Bœuf. Beef. Bœuf. Bœuf. Beef. Steak de bœuf. Beef steak. Steak de bœuf. Poulet. Chicken. Poulet. Poulet. Chicken. Poulet rôti. Roast chicken. Poulet rôti. Porc. Pork. Porc. Porc. Pork. Le porc est la viande de cochon. Pork is meat from a pig. Le porc est de la viande de cochon. Poisson. Fish. Poisson. Poisson. Fish. Le thon est un poisson de mer. Tuna is a saltwater fish. Le thon est un poisson de mer. Agneau. Lamb. Agneau. Agneau. Lamb. L'agneau, c'est énormément délicieux. Lamb is extremely delicious. L'agneau, c'est énormément délicieux. Docteur. Doctor. docteur, docteur, doctor. Si tu tombes malade, va chez le docteur. If you get sick, go to the doctor. Si tu tombes malade, va chez le docteur. Officier de police. Police officer. Officier de police. Officier de police. Police officer. Officier de police en uniforme. Police officer in uniform. Officier de police en uniforme. Professeur. Teacher. Professeur. Professeur. Teacher. Professeur d'anglais. English teacher. Professeur d'anglais. Employé. Employee. Employé. Employé. Employee. Profit des employés. Employee benefits. Profit des employés. Venir. Come. Venir. Venir. Come. Venir à la maison. Come home. Venir à la maison. Regardez. See. Regardez. Regardez. See. Voir un coucher de soleil. See a sunset. Voir un coucher de soleil. Faire. Make. Faire. Faire. Make. Le chef fait du jus d'orange. The chef makes orange juice. Le chef fait du jus d'orange. Utiliser. Use. Utiliser. Utiliser. Use. Le programmeur a utilisé l'ordinateur. The programmer used the computer. Le programmeur a utilisé l'ordinateur. Pouvoir. Can. Pouvoir. Pouvoir. Can. Pouvoir sauter au-dessus. Can jump over. Pouvoir sauter au-dessus. Zéro. Zero. Zéro. Zéro. Zero. Numéro 0. Number 0. Numéro 0. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. Un de ceux-là, s'il vous plaît. One of that, please. Un de ceux-là, s'il vous plaît. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2 semaines. 2 weeks long. 2 semaines. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. Il est 3 heures pile maintenant. It is 3 o'clock now. Il est 3 heures pile maintenant. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4 degrés. 4 degrees. 4 degrés. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5 pommes. 5 apples. 5 pommes. 6. 6. 6. 6. 6. 6 choses. 6 things. 6 choses. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. Une semaine a 7 jours. 1 week has 7 days. Une semaine a 7 jours. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8 fois. 8 times. 8 fois. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9 étages. 9 floors. 9 étages. 10. 10. 10. 10. 10. Cet immeuble a 10 étages. This building has 10 floors. Cet immeuble a 10 étages. Vendeur. Salesman. Vendeur. Vendeur. Salesman. Vendeur de voitures. Car salesman. Vendeur de voitures. Gérant. Manager. Gérant. Gérant. Manager. Le gérant de l'usine donne des instructions. The factory manager is giving instructions. Le gérant de l'usine donne des instructions. Cuisinier. Cook. Cuisinier. Cuisinier. Cook. Elle est cuisinière dans un restaurant 4 étoiles. She is a cook at a 4-star restaurant. Elle est cuisinière dans un restaurant 4 étoiles. Ingénieur. Engineer. Ingénieur. Ingénieur. Engineer. Je suis ingénieur. I am an engineer. Je suis ingénieur. Programmeur. Programmer. Programmeur. Programmeur. Programmer. Je suis programmeur. I am a programmer. Je suis programmeur. Infirmière. Nurse. Infirmière. Infirmière. Nurse. La femme est infirmière. The woman is a nurse. La femme est infirmière. Corps. Body. Corps. Corps. Body. Corps humain. Human body. Corps humain. Tête. Head. Tête. Tête. Head. Tête et cou. Head and neck. Tête et cou.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Monthly Review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, study tools, and resources. By the way, all the lessons and bonuses you're about to see can be downloaded for free on our website. So, click the link in the description right now to sign up for your free lifetime account. Okay, today's topic is the power of mistakes. Have you ever made a mistake in your target language while talking with a native speaker? Maybe you said the wrong word. Maybe you misconjugated a verb. When you make a mistake, you usually don't forget about it, right? Well, that's the power of mistakes. And in today's episode, you're going to find out why making mistakes is crucial to learning a language. Do you know the most common adverbs of frequency? You will with this 1-minute lesson. Learn how to say rarely, always, often, sometimes, and much more in your target language. Fourth, must know summer clothes vocab. Do you know how to say t-shirt or shorts in your target language? If you don't, you can learn how. This 1-minute lesson will give you all the words you need for summer clothing. Fifth, the top 50 adjectives for personalities. Can you describe your personality? This next bonus teaches you 50 must-know adjectives for personalities, so you can talk about yourself in your target language. To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. Okay, today's topic is how remembering your mistakes can help you learn faster. First, take a moment and think of a time when you made a mistake. Maybe you were at work. Maybe you were at school. Maybe you were shopping or in another public place. We can all probably clearly remember many mistakes we've made. We also remember the reactions of the people around us. Some people are understanding. Some people aren't so understanding. But why do we remember these situations so clearly? Psychologically speaking, negative things tend to impact us more than positive things. For example, if we're asked to choose between gaining friends or gaining money and losing friends or losing money, we'll choose not to lose friends or lose money, not to gain. This is called loss aversion. We tend to avoid losing more than we work on gaining. We spend time thinking about our negative past experiences to avoid them in the future. Because of this, negative events, like making mistakes, stay in our minds for a very long time. And this happens in language learning. If you make a language mistake while chatting with a native speaker, it'll probably be hard to forget. Yes, it's true that when we're learning another language, we don't always know when we've made a mistake. But when we realize we've used the wrong word, used grammar incorrectly, spelled something wrong or similar, we tend to remember the situation vividly. In some languages, just a tiny change in pronunciation, tone, or writing could make a big difference, so mistakes are a big source of worry for many learners. But the fact that mistakes are very hard for us to forget can be a powerful tool when learning a language. We want to avoid the feeling of embarrassment that comes after a mistake, so we work hard to correct ourselves. Past mistakes can motivate us to try harder. We can use our mistakes as a tool in our language learning, but we can't make these emotionally powerful mistakes by reading a textbook or even by taking a lesson with a teacher. The only way you can make these mistakes is by speaking in real conversations and messing up. So, what can you take away from this? Let's jump into the second part: how to use mistakes in your language learning. We can give advice like go ahead and make mistakes, but that's easier said than done. Here are 3 tips to help you make the most of your mistakes. 1. Speak in your target language as much as possible. Why? Because part of the learning process is making mistakes. Accept that mistakes are going to happen. If you're not making any mistakes ever, then you're probably not challenging yourself. 2. Look for opportunities to speak. Many learners have trouble finding public places to practice the language they're studying. See if there are language groups in your community or at your school. If you have trouble with that, look online and be creative. You don't need to search for groups specifically for language learners. See if you can find a hobby discussion in your target language. Maybe you'll find a news discussion group. Think outside the box. Find somewhere to practice and make mistakes. When you do mess up, you'll probably remember it. 3. Build on your experiences. Think carefully about your conversations after you have them, and work to make them longer each time. If you made a mistake in your first conversation, think about how to fix it. If you said only a few sentences in your first discussion, work to speak for 15 or 30 seconds on the next discussion. Challenge yourself. Many learners have trouble finding opportunities to speak that work with their schedule and their level. If you're not sure where else you can practice, you can consider hiring a tutor. If you're a Premium Plus member on our website, you can practice with your teacher. It's still important, where possible, to practice and make mistakes in real-life situations. This will help you to more carefully reflect on your conversations and work to improve. It isn't quite the same as studying with a textbook or a hired tutor. This strong desire to avoid making a mistake will help you work to improve. You'll be motivated to try harder. This can help you learn faster. So, thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. So, you decided to learn a new language. At first, the idea seemed exciting. You bought a phrase book, dictionary, and a subscription to an online class, ready to dive headfirst into the language. For the first day or 2, all was well. You gained ground quickly, learning a few basic phrases and words. A week before, learning that language was just a dream, but now you're actually doing it. Then, the 3rd and 4th day roll around. The excitement is wearing off. You encouraged yourself to continue, and another week or 2 goes by, but with a lot less progress. Suddenly, learning a new language doesn't fill you with excitement anymore. Now it feels more like dread. Sometimes it feels like you're drowning in grammatical cases, verb conjugations, and wonky pronunciation. It all seems too much to handle, so you start to think about giving up. But we encourage you not to give up. Learning a foreign language is difficult. We won't pretend like it isn't. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. Sometimes you just need to take a step back, reevaluate your approach, and come back to the language with a different perspective. In this video, we'll look at 4 tips for when learning a new language feels overwhelming. Number 1, set aside a designated study time. Consistency is key when learning a foreign language. Studying 15 minutes 7 days a week will benefit you more than cramming in 2 hours 1 day a week. Set aside an amount of time that works best for you. If you can afford to spend an hour every day learning, that's awesome. Go for it. But don't feel bad if you can't spend that much time. Even 10 or 15 minutes a day goes a long way. Breaking up your learning into manageable time segments will relieve a lot of the stress that can come with studying a new language. Learning is not a race. Go at your own pace and try not to compare your progress with anyone else's. Number 2, take it 1 bite at a time. Now that you have your schedule under control, it's time to focus on what you'll actually be studying. It's recommended that every 1 to 2 weeks you focus on learning a very specific piece of the language. It could be a conjugation group, a case, tense, or a collection of theme vocabulary. Whatever you choose, hone in on it and do your best to feel comfortable with it before you move on to something else. Ever heard the saying, "How do you eat an elephant?" Focusing on one thing at a time helps you break the language into digestible chunks. Number 3, expose yourself to the language in different ways. Don't just sit around reading about grammar all day. Obviously, knowledge of grammar is important, but you want to spice up your practice as much as possible. In addition to grammatical study, try to mix in a combination of reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Try to practice reading by either translating a simple article into your native language, or maybe if you're a beginner, pick up a children's book in your target language. For writing, you can try to write out a fictional conversation between you and yourself, even. Use the phrases you know to create a mock conversation, and don't use any words you can't think of or you don't remember. To practice speaking, you can find native speakers locally at a language club or at a meetup. You can also find them online in a language exchange. For listening, a great podcast should do the trick. Spread out each type of practice, listening, reading, speaking, and writing, across your regular language study schedule. This will give you a balanced experience in the language and should help keep things interesting. This method also works well when you use it to focus on a single aspect of the language like we talked about above. Number 4, set mini goals, not just big ones. If your only language learning goal is to be fluent, you're likely setting yourself up for disappointment. While speaking fluently can be your ultimate goal, it shouldn't be your only one. Try to set mini goals month by month and week by week. It could be something simple. Learn 20 new verbs, practice a new case, or speak with 3 native speakers. As long as it's specific and reasonable to achieve in a shorter amount of time, it should work fine. Not having mini goals alongside your ultimate goal is a lot like sprinting across a huge open field. There's no reference point, so for much of the time it feels like you're not any closer to your goal. It's not that you're not moving forward, it just feels like you're not. Without any trees or buildings to run past, it seems like you're running in place. Mini goals are like the trees and buildings of your language race. They help you see that you're moving forward and give you a sense of accomplishment. The desire for perfection can get in the way of your progress. Don't freak out when you struggle to speak or make a mistake. It's all a part of the learning process. Also, don't be afraid to speak, even if you know what you'll say won't be totally correct. It's better to do your best to communicate in the language and get it wrong than to never try at all. Learning a new language isn't always easy. In fact, oftentimes it's very hard. Don't let that discourage you, though. Use these tips to help keep you focused yet unstressed in your language learning. A little perseverance will go a long way. Before long, you'll be speaking better than you may have thought was possible. Reading in a foreign language is great, but a big challenge related to reading is that you often need a high level of fluency before it gets really fun. And if a book isn't fun, then you're not going to want to read it. The entire point of sitting down with a book is to enjoy it and have a good time being absorbed in the story or learning the information. And that's just not going to happen if you need to look up every second word. It'll take you out of the story, and it will feel like a chore, like an assignment from school where you have to read the book for a class. But there is a resource that you might not know about that can really help your skills: bilingual books. In this video, we'll look at how to supercharge your vocabulary with bilingual reading. This is a simple solution that will make reading, especially at the beginner levels, easier and fun. These are books that have your target language on the left page and your native language on the right. But how do you use it? Well, it's all in the name. You read a book in 2 languages at once: the language that you're learning plus the language that you're fluent in. There are a few different formats for bilingual books, but the most common one is the one previously mentioned. You have a book that has your foreign language on one side and your native language on the other. It's also possible to find stories that are presented bilingually, paragraph by paragraph. The principle is the same, but the information is just in more bite-sized chunks, so your eyes need to travel less to read both texts. The great thing about bilingual reading is that you can quickly switch between languages, and the translation is presented to you, so you don't need to try to distinguish between the 10 variants of a word that your dictionary offers. Which brings us to the main advantage. Bilingual reading is great for building your initial vocabulary. When you first try reading in a new language, you'll probably find that you need a relatively high level of fluency before you can make a strong connection with the words on the page. Reading is a lot of fun if you already know about 80% of the words, as you can guess the meaning of another 15% from context, and then look up the remaining few words you do not understand. But if you're starting out, you might know only 10% of the words. That's where bilingual reading can help a lot. Here's a way to use a bilingual book. Read a sentence first in your target language. See if you understand it. If you do, think about the meaning of some of the key words. Then, quickly glance on the other side of the page and check the translation. This way, you'll be able to have fun reading and learn contextual vocabulary at the same time. Let's look at why it works well if you're learning a language at home. If you're taking language classes, then your teacher sometimes supports you in a similar way to the translated page. When you're reading a text with your teacher, you can ask them questions whenever you do not understand something. They'll give you a translation quickly and can share other ways in which a word can be used. But if you're learning from home, you don't have that advantage. Bilingual reading offers the same benefits, as you can quickly check the translation of a sentence and see what each word means. The main goal of bilingual books is to bridge the gap between the beginner and intermediate to more advanced levels. They can help set you up to read real books without any translations. Some language purists might recommend you read only stories that were originally written in your target language, but any book you enjoy is best to encourage your studies. Use bilingual reading to improve your vocabulary and reading comprehension skills, until you get so good that you don't need it anymore. It doesn't matter what language you're learning. Bilingual reading works for every language. The principles of language learning don't change, only the implementation does. You also don't really need too much knowledge at the start. If you like a real challenge, then you could even start reading some simple bilingual stories without any prior experience in a language. However, just as with other language programs and courses, the more people who speak a specific language, the easier it'll be to find bilingual books. Why is speaking the #1 weakness for most language learners? Some time ago, we sent out a survey to find out a little more about you. We asked about what you like, what you don't like, your strengths, and your weaknesses. One question asked you to rate your abilities in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Over 70% of people surveyed answered that their biggest weakness is speaking. In this video, you'll find out why speaking is a common weakness. You'll also learn 6 ways you can start improving your speaking skills right now. This is a common issue for language learners. But why is speaking the #1 weakness for most learners? It's pretty simple when you consider that you get better at what you focus on. You get better at what you focus on. When people start learning a language, they usually start with reading. Most learners start with textbooks. Learners taking their first class probably spend most of their time doing homework and reviewing information in their textbook, spending maybe only 30 minutes a week or so repeating words in class. If you spend most of your time reading, you'll get better at reading, but your speaking skills won't grow. It's like exercising just one muscle. That single muscle will get stronger, but the other ones, which are ignored, stay small. This is why speaking is such a common weakness for learners. If you want to improve your speaking skills, you need to spend more time speaking. Here are 6 ways you can start right now. #1. Get a native speaker tutor to practice with. A common issue is most people don't have access to teachers or native speakers, or they just don't have the time to meet with one. But with our Premium Plus plan, you get your very own on-site teacher. You can practice speaking by recording yourself and having them review it. One popular tactic is to talk about your day. To do this, send 3 recordings, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and 1 at night. Your teacher will review your recordings and then give you corrections and feedback. #2. Get conversation-based lessons in the lesson library. If you visit your lesson library, you can sort lessons by conversation, reading, writing, vocab, grammar, or culture. So select conversations, and you'll see the lessons that expose you to conversations and get you speaking the language. #3. Read out loud. While you're listening to a lesson and reading along with the notes, try reading out loud. Then reread and speed up your tempo. If you're reading out loud, you're practicing your speaking skills. And by increasing your speed, you'll also be able to talk faster and with confidence. Do this again and again until you can speak faster. #4. Prepare things to say ahead of time. Most learners, especially beginners, run out of things to say. But if you prepare lines ahead of time, you won't have to worry about this. Start speaking with prepared lines from our 3-minute video lessons, top 25 questions lessons, survival phrases lessons, and other lessons that you'll find in the lesson library. #5. Shadow conversations. This means you should repeat the dialogues as you hear them. In every lesson, you learn a new conversation, so try to shadow the conversation line by line. Premium and Premium Plus users use the dialogue tool with this method, and you'll master conversations faster. #6. Review again and again. Regular review is essential to mastery. Many learners don't review. If you review and repeat lines again and again, you'll speak better, faster, and with more confidence. Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.